friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Vlogmas Day 5. And today let's go ahead and start by changing the calendar like I should have done the past 4 days. Much better. And I just discovered something. My chair actually lowers, so this has forever changed my filming game because I was always struggling to get the angle of the tripod kind of level with me because I always had to angle up or like slouch to get in the camera the full way, and I never knew that this chair lowered. So I was like, I'm just gonna try, and I just went whoop, right into the frame and it worked out perfectly. Wow, like I've been struggling for months for no reason. But as you can see, I did get my hair done yesterday. It's a strawberry blonde now, and I haven't had bangs since like high school, so I'm still trying to figure out how to operate with bangs. But I tweeted this last night. I was like, why did no one ever tell me that the secret to not looking like a colonial boy with my hair pulled back is curtain bangs? Like, I actually love my hair pulled up now. I feel like a blonde Vanellope from Wreck-It Ralph, I'm not gonna lie, with this whole hairstyle and color, but you know, we'll make it work. So we're gonna start today by opening up the Book Gizmo Day 5 gift. Okay, so we got a little tin candle and it says, "I'd find you anywhere, Zatara," and Zatara sounds familiar, but I can't place what story that's from. But this smells of Lang Lang blossoms and strength. Oh, it's got a nice little floral scent to it. And here is the packaging up close. So let's check the spoiler card to find out what the fandom was. Okay, so the fandom was Spin the Dawn, and that is actually a book I would really love to get to, but I have not gotten to yet. So on to today's purpose, which was to discuss my bookish wish list. I was going through and I really don't have that many books that I'm like dying to get because, as you can see, I have a surplus of books. I have over 300 books on my TBR at the moment, like my physical TBR, not to mention like just like non-physical TBR, so I really don't need more books. I need to read the ones I have. However, I do have 5 that I would really love to get, and these are probably the ones that I'm going to recommend to my parents or boyfriend or friends if they ask me what I would like for Christmas. Hopefully this gives you some ideas, but because I only have 5, I did want to share some books that I thought would be good recommendations for others as well. So we'll just go through my 5 first. And my 5 are Gleaming by Leah Lopez. This is actually like a coffee table kind of book of artwork, and they're one of my favorite artists. They do kind of chibi-ish artwork and it's super cute. They did the Game of Thrones characters, they do seasonal witches, they do wizards, I think they did The Greatest Showman, they've done Disney, just cute little chibi characters of all of our favorite characters, and I just love their artwork. And they do have some graphic novels out. They're not in English, but I'm tempted to buy them just for the artwork because I love it that much. But this book is, I believe, just artwork and illustrations, not a storyline. So I would have it out on like a coffee table or on display or something of that nature. Next is my 2021 hopes and wishes TBR coming out a little bit. And as with this year, I read 3 manga series throughout the 2020 year, and I'd like to continue that tradition into 2021. I love reading manga. They're nice little palate cleansers almost between novels, and one of the manga I would really love to get to next year is Sailor Moon. So I would love to get the Sailor Moon Eternal edition of the series. So these are kind of the thicker, more collectible editions, and I just like those on my shelf as opposed to the smaller like mass market paperback kind of manga because I think they hold up better, they're prettier, and if I'm going to collect a series, I tend to go on the more cool looking on my shelf side. But I really do want to get into the Sailor universe, and I remember watching it a little bit as a kid. I think I was obsessed with Sailor Venus, and I would love to do cosplay. I think that'd be so fun, but before I feel comfortable like fully getting into that, I want to read the manga. So that is the second book out of 5 on my wish list. The third book out of 5 is Fresh Romance, and this is a short story graphic novel bind up of just different relationships. There's diversity, I believe there's some characters with disabilities if I remember correctly, and it just seems like a really nice diverse romance kind of bind up, and I would love to read about different relationships and how they work. And I think like just reading hetero relationships gets a little bit boring sometimes, so let's spice it up, add some flavor. Next, I would like to complete my Mina Lima Collectible Classics editions. I have them all that are currently out except Little Mermaid, so I would love to get the Little Mermaid edition and complete that set. If you don't know what the Mina Lima editions are, they are these beautiful hardback editions, and they have like interactive pages in them. They are so cool. So here's the Secret Garden, and then I have Peter Pan, probably the favorite one I own. It's just so cool. Like there's something about the Lost Boys, and we've got some medical notes in here. Then we have the Jungle Book, Beauty and the Beast, and The Adventures of Pinocchio. So I have all of these so far. I believe, as I said, I have all of them that are currently out except for Little Mermaid, but if there's any others that I don't have that are out, I would also want those on my wish list just because I am a hoarder and a collector, and yeah. Future Megan is editing, and I just wanted to say I do have Alice in Wonderland. I just forgot to grab it because it was on a different shelf, and yeah, I do have it. And the last book on my wish list is really the only book that I would read. The others are like art or collectibles or manga or graphic novels. And not saying that manga and graphic novels aren't books, but this is like a novel sort of book, and it is Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire. This is the first book in a series of books about the wayward children, or children who got lost in a fairy tale. For example, like Wonderland, or I think Hansel and Gretel is one, or maybe Jack and the Beanstalk. Those kind of stories, those myths and tales that you hear of as a kid, and these kids got stuck in those worlds and are now forced back into the real world. It's almost like Miss Peregrine's, where all these children are in a like foster home, for lack of a better term, and it's their stories about adapting back to the real world, and that just sounds really cool. I haven't read a lot of Portal fantasies, but that one sounds really interesting and I'd love to pick it up. Now on to some books I'd like to recommend for the holidays for your people. I'm gonna try to break it down so that I give different recommendations for different genres and try to hit each one, but we'll start with middle grade. My recommendation for anyone who enjoys middle grade or a younger audience would be the Isle of the Lost or the Descendants series. This is a series by Melissa De La Cruz in which we are following the children of Disney villains. There's 4 in particular that are sent to the happily ever after land, or essentially the land in which the princes and princesses and like the good people of the stories live, and these 4 children are sent over to see if the children can be good even though their parents were bad. And we are following Mal, who is Maleficent's daughter, Evie, who is the evil queen's daughter, Carlos, who is the son of Cruella de Vil, Jay, the son of Jafar. And you may know already, but this is also a Disney Channel original movie series. And what's really interesting about these books is that you read a book, then you watch a movie, then you read the next book, then you watch the next movie, then you read the third book, and you watch the third movie, so on and so forth. And the movies fill in where the books left off, and then the next book will pick up where the movie left off. So you have to do both formats to get the full story. And I think that's really fascinating, and it would be a really fun experience for the younger people in your life who enjoy reading. Now, we're gonna go on to YA fantasy, and of course my first instinct is to talk about Crown of Feathers, but I talk about Crown of Feathers all the time, and I do want to spruce up some of my recommendations, so I'll just briefly mention Crown of Feathers. Always recommend that one. But to give you a new recommendation, I'm going to recommend Shatter the Sky by Rebecca Kim Wells. The second book in the series also just recently came out, so definitely check that out as well. This tells the story of a girl whose girlfriend has been stolen by the Empire, so she goes on a quest to rescue her girlfriend, and in this she discovers how to train dragons and how to care for dragons, and steals a dragon from the Empire, and learns that she has like a connection to the oldest dragon, and it was just so good, and I need to pick up the next book. So highly recommend Shatter the Sky. Check it out. I mean, who doesn't love a good dragon book, you know? For my dystopian lovers, I'm going to recommend Four Dead Queens by Astrid Schulte. This is a standalone novel, potentially with an upcoming sequel. I think there's potentialness, but it was originally written as a standalone, and in this we are following 4 segments of a kingdom, and there's a queen over each segment. There's like a natural, there's a technological, there's a political, and there's a creative. As I said, there is a queen over each of these quadrants. We are following Carolee, who uncovers a plot to assassinate the queens and goes on a mission to stop it from happening, and it was so excellent, and the romance was not what I was expecting, but even better than I could have imagined, and this ended up being one of my favorite books of the year. I can't talk enough about it. Also, this is the artwork for it. I mean, look at these queens. Astrid Schulte, who is the author, actually did the illustrations of the queens, which I thought was really cool. There is some diverse representation, and there's LGBTQIA+ representation, so overall it's just a really great book. For my contemporary YA lovers, I'm going to recommend Now That I've Found You by Christina Forrest. In this we are following Evie, who is Hollywood's next rising starlet, and she is following in the footsteps of her grandma, who was the golden child or golden star of her age, and her grandma has recently been awarded the Lifetime Achievement Award for acting, and due to some rumors and some things that happened in the past with an ex, she is feeling very hesitant about accepting this award. Meanwhile, Evie is going through her own turmoil with some backstabbing people, and it causes a lot of strife in her career, and now she's trying to make a comeback, and she was like essentially blacklisted and was trying to make a comeback, but her grandma disappears during all of this. So much is going on in Evie's life. I felt so bad for this girl. But her grandma has a grocery boy, and Evie and the grocery boy end up going on the hunt for the grandma, and the romance ensues, and it's just really cute, and the aspects of like found family and just like family in general, or celebrities and what they go through and everything along those lines was really well done, and I highly recommend this book. Now, I don't read a lot of horror, mystery, thriller kind of books, but if you enjoy fantasy, horror, thriller, mystery, then I would recommend Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles. I can't stop thinking about this book. Like, I recommend it to people all the time on our Facebook pages, and oh my gosh, I just love this book so much. It is a Phantom of the Opera retelling, I'm pretty sure. At least those are the vibes I picked up from reading it. And it has very much like Caraval vibes if you enjoyed that series. In this, we are following Kalia, who is a powerful magician, but she's also a woman, which is frowned upon. To prove herself, she joins a competition entirely made up of men except for herself in order to become the opening act of the Conquering Circus, or like the headlining act of the Conquering Circus. However, during the competition, mysterious things keep happening to the contestants, and it turns into a murder mystery. Kalia is pretty sure that she knows who is doing it. However, a lot of things ensue, and it makes you start questioning your own thoughts of the reading, and it's got I don't know if a questionable or unreliable narrator is the best way to describe this, but it definitely has some questionable or unreliable moments. So highly, highly recommend this, and if you know someone who's into that like mystery, thriller, murder mystery, fantasy specifically vibes, yes. Okay, so for my adult fantasy lovers, I'm going to recommend The Starless Sea. This is by Aaron Morgenstern and tells the story of a boy who is in college, and one day at the library he comes across a book with like no title, no author, no really anything about it. And when he starts reading it, he discovers that one of the first short stories is very specifically a story that happened to him. And this is not something like, oh, I fell in love and then I got cheated on, and something that could like generically happen to a lot of people. This specifically described the exact situation he was in when he was younger. So he's kind of obviously and pretty understandably freaked out by this. So he's going on the hunt for who sent this book in, who donated it to the library, and how did these people know his story. On this quest, he uncovers a hidden labyrinth library in the underground, and not gonna lie, this book got real lyrical, really hard to follow at times, so I highly recommend the physical book if you're going to read it as opposed to the audiobook. But it was so beautifully written and I loved it so much. I actually just recently was on Twitter and I saw that the author was inspired for the setting slash creation of the underground labyrinth library by, I think it was Dragon Age Inquisition, the video game. So if you want to kind of figure out what vibes that has, that is this. And if you want to see that tweet, I just retweeted it, and you can check out the link to my Twitter down below. For my adult romance lovers, I'm going to recommend Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is a story of two authors, one who is a literary fiction author and one who is a woman's romance author. Together they're going through their own strifes and troubles and tribulations and whatnot of adulthood, and due to this are both in a slump. They then make a bet and compete against each other to write in the other's genre of choice, and to do this they go on research trips together, they go on dates so that the guy can learn about like romance, and it's just such a fun read and I loved it so much. What I really enjoyed about this is it wasn't just romance, it talked about life and like plot line too. It wasn't just romance, so highly recommend this. For my superhero fans, I recommend literally anything Wonder Woman. I've been obsessed recently. I have the Wonder Woman Warbringer book, I have the Wonder Woman Warbringer graphic novel, I have the Wonder Woman origin story graphic novel, I have a Diana, Princess of the Amazons middle grade book. I'm obsessed. So literally if you have a question about like superhero trope, that's what I'm gonna recommend to you. But that is all I have for today, so thank you guys so much for watching. I'll check in with you tomorrow. I'm going to be doing a Disney sock swap that I was part of, but also I'm going to be doing my December TBR. I do want to forewarn you that I clearly am not up at my boyfriend's house, which is where I left the board game. So honestly, I'm not going to be doing the game of TBR next month or tomorrow because I don't have the board game, but I feel like we're already so far into December. I just need to put a TBR up, so I'm just gonna make my own. And anyways, I'm going to be starting a new TBR game. It's still gonna be the game of TBR, I'm just redesigning and recreating the rules for 2021. So this is a nice little setback, I guess, to catch up on my 2020 game of TBR of all the things that I said I was gonna read and never did. So stay tuned for that tomorrow, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll check in with you tomorrow. So bye friends!